Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. Corning is officially certified by the Hallmark Channel as a Hallmark Channel Christmas town. Our Maggie Hall has more on how you can enjoy a Crystal City Christmas from anywhere with the Centerway Christmas Camp.
So this year, because we were voted one of the best downtowns during the holiday season, we actually have quite a surprise on the horizon.
And now that surprise is up and running.
Hallmark Channel reached out to us to ask if we would be willing to have a live video feed of Centerway Square.
So far, the Hallmark Christmas Cam has captured classic Corning holiday moments, such as Sparkle and Santa's house. So I'm standing in Centerway Square right here in downtown Corning. So if you were watching the Hallmark Christmas camera right now while I was filming, you'd see me. The Christmas Cam captures a whole view of the decked out Centerway Square.
So I grew up in Corning, and Corning is a great place to live all year round. But at the holidays, at Christmas time, it's magical. So it's really wonderful to have the rest of the country and even maybe the world seeing what we see every December here in Corning. It's lights, it's magic, and it'll bring business and people to our community.
Must-see Corning spots like the Corning Museum of Glass have certainly decked the halls with boughs of holly in celebration of the holiday season. You can check out the Corning Hallmark Christmas Cam at hallmarkchannel.com/Christmas/Christmas-cam. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
Governor Hochul has signed new legislation that cracks down on unwanted telemarketing calls. This legislation requires telemarketers to mention at the beginning of calls a do not call list option for the household. By requiring the mention of this at the beginning of the calls, the legislation prevents against unwanted solicitation. For more information, visit the website on your screen and find the legislation under Consumer Protection tab. Corning police arrested an Elmira man during the annual Corning Sparkle event. 28-year-old Saquon DeJean was arrested without resistance and charged with possession and sale of an illegal substance. The arrest stems from an investigation into a drug-dealing ring on Bridge Street back in September that led to the arrest of Marquand Stedman Jones. In remembrance of Pearl Harbor, the VFW post in Owego held a ceremony dedicated to those who were lost in the attack. Josh Feldberg attended the ceremony.
Today marks 81 years since the attack on Pearl Harbor, which in less than 2 hours claimed the lives of around 2,500 men and women. The day was marked as a date which will live in infamy by President Franklin Roosevelt. The attack on Pearl Harbor resulted in Tioga County's first World War II casualty.
The prime purpose of Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day is to remember. So today we're going to remember. We're going to remember Seaman First Class Delmer Dale Sibley.
Many of those who were at today's ceremony had personal stories to tell about loved ones who were at Pearl Harbor.
When he tried to describe it to me, he says, well, this is kind of hard to describe. He says, because Schofield Army Barracks is up on the hill. He says, you've got ships going up in flames down in the harbor. You've got the airfield being attacked. You had them strafing Schofield Barracks. He says, saying like it was pandemonium or messed up or scary, he says, it doesn't do it justice.
Gordon Ichikawa shared stories about life for his family as Japanese Americans following Pearl Harbor.
But my mom and her family, as well as the other Japanese families, they made the best of a bad situation. She never held a grudge against the country, and she was proud to be an American when she went in and when she came out.
VFW Post 371 in Owego holds a Pearl Harbor Remembrance Ceremony every year. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Owego.
Both Arnott Ogden and Corning Guthrie have been awarded the highest rating possible for their labor and delivery centers. 5-star rated hospitals on average have a 60% lower risk of any possible complications than hospitals with 1 star. Healthgrades awarded both hospitals recognition for both C-section and natural delivery. Over 30 properties are available to bid on as part of Chemung County's second real estate auction of the year. The rules and registration for bidding are available on the auction's website. A total of 37 properties are up for sale. The auction site is now live. Bidding is open through December 20th. Democrat Raphael Warnock won Georgia's runoff Senate election, but it was close and early votes may have made the difference. Madeline Rivera reports how elections are changing and the strategies that campaigns must embrace, according to political analysts, for them to win.
The people have spoken.
After 2 general elections and 2 runoffs in roughly 2 years, Raphael Warnock finally gets a full 6-year term in the United States Senate. His win secures the Democrats' 51-seat majority in the upper chamber.
After 1 year, 10 months, and 17 days of the longest 50-50 Senate in history, 51, a slim majority.
As Democrats celebrate, Republicans are recalibrating, trying to figure out how to mitigate their election losses in the future. Many are pointing to early voting as being a key factor. Close to 2 million Georgians cast ballots before Election Day, giving Democrats who tend to favor early voting an edge.
The turnout for Republicans was very high yesterday. Walker had got the momentum back there toward the end. It just wasn't enough to overcome the fact that the Democrats were able to get a lot of people out in early voting.
The trend will likely change the way campaigns on both sides are run as more GOP leaders embrace early voting.
There were many in 2020 saying don't vote by mail, don't vote early, and we have to stop that and understand that if Democrats are getting ballots in for a month, we can't expect to get it all done in one day.
It's not the only area where Republicans say they've underperformed.
As Republicans, if we want to do some soul searching, we need to win back the suburbs. That used to be our bread and butter.
The loss of Republican Herschel Walker in Georgia is a blow for former President Trump, who backed the former football player. A rough rollout, some say, for his 3rd presidential run. In Washington, Martha Rivera, Fox News.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Spirit of Ukraine have been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2022. The publication said it awarded Zelensky the accolade for proving that courage can be as contagious as fear, for stirring people and nations to come together in defense of freedom, for reminding the world of the fragility of democracy and of peace. Zelensky, an actor, comedian turned politician, was elected president in 2019 and has withstood almost 10 months of attacks from Russian forces after they invaded Ukraine February 24. The FDA has recalled frozen raspberries sold in New York and Pennsylvania. 1,260 cases of James Farm frozen raspberries have been issued in the recall after tests run by the FDA indicated the presence of hepatitis A in the raspberries. Hepatitis A is a contagious liver disease that can result in mild illness lasting a few weeks to serious illness lasting several months. Electronic cigarette maker Juul reaches a settlement covering more than 5,000 cases. The lawsuit related to Juul's vaping products was brought against Juul Labs by more than 10,000 plaintiffs. Juul said the financial terms of the settlement will be kept private, but the company needed to obtain equity investment to fund the settlement. Your complete forecast is next, plus this.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, the wet weather is diminishing. However, we still have at least another gloomy day setting up. But what will start to change is that temperature trend. Overnight, we're going to have what is called cold air advection. So that's going to be as that low pressure system departs, a high is going to be moving in from Canada, and that's going to be spreading across much of the northeastern portions of the states. And that's going to gradually bring some clearing. However, we'll be on the edge of that clearing as we'll see some brighter skies by about Friday. However, what we do see with the cold air advection is we do drop temperatures. Now, with the cloud cover hanging on, it's not going to be those temperatures tanking as we head into the next few days, which is some good news as we'll settle into the cold. But note that this is more seasonal for this time of the year. So what we have setting up is with that high pressure system moving in, we do have some drying and cooling. Now, staying under some of that cloud cover and also seeing that some of the winds that are going to come out of the north off of that high pressure system could potentially bring some spotty lake effect rainfall, mainly for the Finger Lakes. Not going to see much of that work its way all the way down towards Elmira and into Pennsylvania, but can't rule out at least a few of those showers under some of those gloomy skies. Now, temperatures are cooler than we've been seeing. I mean, 50s have been highs at times this week, but we note that we are going to head into this cooler weather pattern, which is what's more seasonal for this time of the year. We'll also be timing out some of that return to some sunshine Friday and Saturday before we'll see our next system will be coming as we step into our Sunday. So rolling into our forecast here, we'll note that we start off even with still some of that lingering moisture causing for some fog development. But as we start off the day into those 30s, there even is still some afternoon warming bringing us into those lower 40s, but much of the day does stay under those mostly cloudy skies. Might just get the chance to see some sunshine there before sunset. Now we still climb into those 40s, so we're still looking close to average. As average does sit just around about 41 degrees. Now, as the skies are going to continue to be clearing, there will be that continuous chance to see cooling. So from 40s on highs on Thursday, we do return to low temperatures back into the 20s. So closer again towards averages. We should be about 24 for a low temperature. We'll look to be back to about 27. So maybe if you've been leaving those winter mittens at home, you'll want to make sure to have those packed on, hats as well. Leave the umbrella at home because we will see that bright sunshine. We'll be back in store finally by Friday. But with the clearing skies, that does allow for more of that cold air advection to bring temperatures to hold within the 30s, as well as a cooler start to the day allows for a little bit more of a struggle to get those temperatures back up into the 30s. So ranging from those mid to upper 30s. Similar forecast for your Saturday, and then by Sunday, that's where we will be timing out our next low pressure system, as that will be working its way from across the Midwest, and with it is going to be running into that high pressure system that's off to the north. So as that brings down some cooler air, and then this low pressure system brings in some warmer air, there will be some area of wintry mix right now for the Elmira area. So you'll see some showers to wintry mix there possible Sunday into Monday. Temperatures do pull back a bit, but overall extended forecast continues to keep us near seasonal as well as dry.
The last Boeing 747 rolls off the assembly line. Apple's car project appears to be on hold, and how Gen Zers are paying for holiday travel. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
It's the end of an era at Boeing as the last Boeing 747 is rolling off the assembly line. After 53 years and more than 1,570 planes made, it's been part of American history. The jumbo jet has ferried the space shuttle, been a prominent feature in movies like Live and Let Die and Air Force One, and transported presidents. Airlines are moving away from the jet for more fuel-efficient models. Apple's car is delayed once again after experiencing a number of executive shakeups. The latest version will feature a self-driving AI system code named Denali. However, it's projected the car won't arrive until 2026, and even then, it won't be fully self-driving. Apple is now planning to offer the car for less than $100,000 instead of the initial price above $125,000. And finally, Gen Zers are heading home for the holidays, but only if their parents pay the way. A new study finds 41% of young adults traveling home expect their parents or family members to pick up the tab. And 1 in 10 said they won't travel home for the holidays because their parents can't pay for it. According to the Harris poll, 54% of Gen Zers ages 18 to 25 are living with their parents.
Higher rent prices and layoffs are causing millennials to move back home with their parents. According to a survey by PropertyManagement.com, 1 in 4 millennials are currently living with their parents. 1 in 8 moved back home within the past year, as rental prices across the country have risen dramatically and likely will continue into 2023. When asked why they moved back in with mom and dad, 51% said they did it to save money, while 39% said they couldn't afford the rent by themselves and needed to make more money to make it on their own. Holiday family gatherings can sometimes bring more stress than joy. One psychologist has a little advice to minimize those headaches. Marianne Rafferty has that story.
For many of us, the holiday season means spending time with friends and family. But for some, that can be a struggle more than a blessing.
You're spending what you might feel is forced time with people that you don't see very often, and sometimes bad things can happen.
All that extended time together can often leave you feeling like you're walking on eggshells with family members who might not see things the way you do.
Sometimes long-lasting rifts will come up after disagreements about issues that everybody holds very close to their heart, very dear, issues like identity and politics and values.
Psychology professor Catherine Borshuk says the first step is making an effort to come in with a positive attitude.
If we walk in determined to show warmth and grace, to be welcoming and forgiving, when we start off being nervous or uptight before we even walk into a social event, we tend not to bring our best self with us.
Avoid pushing people's buttons with tricky and uncomfortable topics and stick to more lighthearted small talk.
Talk about the things we have in common. Tell funny stories, old family stories. People's dogs, that's always a good topic, or sports or food or how good the pie is.
And remember that holiday gatherings don't have to be a marathon. Take breaks from social situations if you need to recharge.
Give yourself an hour. Walk in, smile, say hi, have some eggnog, and then walk away if you need to protect yourself.
Above all, take things at your own pace and remember that there's no one right way to do a holiday.
Still ahead, a family reunites with a father in a special school surprise after dad was deployed overseas for 2 years. That story coming up. Home for the holidays. A California police officer surprised his daughters at school this week after more than 2 years overseas. Kristen Vartan spoke with the family and the community about how this reunion makes Christmas special.
At St. John the Evangelist Catholic School in Citrus Heights, the excitement was palpable. The students aged kindergarten to 8th grade were told a surprise visitor was coming. Two of the students, Olivia and Maddie McCoy, had no idea that surprise visitor was their dad, someone they hadn't seen in more than 2 years. They haven't hugged since 2020, when Patrick McCoy was deployed to the Middle East.
Grateful to have you home from Saudi Arabia. It's so surprising. I knew it when the police showed up. I was like, what department is this?
McCoy was escorted to his daughter's school by the Citrus Heights Police Department, where he's worked as an officer for years.
I'm just happy to be home.
McCoy and his family have been through a lot while he was overseas. His wife, Kelly, is an officer with the Suisun City Police Department. Earlier this year, she was hit by a car while she was on duty, helping a stranded motorist.
She's the glue, I guess, for the family, if you will. I mean, she's been running everything since I've been gone. Even though she's been injured, she got injured in the line of duty at the beginning of the year. She's still running everything.
And shortly after Kelly's injury, the couple's 22-year-old Navy veteran son passed away.
Part of the healing process is really going to start here now that I'm home. But we just have, I mean, as you can see, this huge support group with the school, with my police department, my wife's police department, just our friends in general.
That community showed up today for the McCoys at this long-awaited reunion with signs in hand and hugs at the ready.
I'm also a veteran, so anytime I can be a part of that, I want to. It's kind of neat. Deep. I'm gonna cry. I know how they feel. I know how the family struggled when they're gone. So
it's important to show up and be a part of that community. Just to being able
rally.
to see them come home and see the just raw love and emotion that's there. It's always just a good feeling.
Now, after 2 holiday seasons apart, the McCoy family is finally back together again.
What are you most excited to do with your daughters and your wife this Christmas?
When I left, they're like this tall. Now they're almost a foot taller, so they're completely different people. So it's just kind of getting back into to the rhythm of just being a family again.
For his daughters, who have waited 26 months for this moment, it's the best Christmas present they could ever ask for.
My whole life, I've kind of looked up to my dad. When they say who's my hero, I say my dad.
Their hero is finally home.
Stay with us. We'll have more after the break. We want to leave you with a smile. Are you tired of working the 9-to-5 grind? Then take a comfy rest and help a cause from the woman who made it popular. Legendary singer Dolly Parton has turned her tour bus into a minimum 2-night hotel stay at Dollywood's Dreammore Resort and Spa in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Now you will have to have the urge to splurge. That stay will cost you $10,000. But Dollywood says net proceeds from every stay will help Dolly's Imagination Library. That organization has given 200 million books to kids around the world since 1995. Parton wrote 9 to 5 the Musical and Backwoods Barbie on that bus. I'm Scott Beadle. Thank you for watching.